Hey guys, do you know I went to a Star Wars themed cricket match the other day?
That sounds awful.
Yeah. It was a bit weird because every time I bowled, the umpire struck back.
Hey! It's a bit weak. They've been better. Duncan.
Wow.
Oh no.
It's themed thematically.
Yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 10 of That's Class, a podcast about things we find class, hosted by two of your favourite class holes. My name is Ruaridh Kidd and co-hosting with me as always is Duncan Malcolm. How's it going, Dunk?
It's going pretty good. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm very well. I'm excited.
Living the surfer life now? Yeah.
Living that surfer life. I'm excited to get into our 10th episode birthday. We are recording
It's an anniversary episode. Yeah.
Recording this on the weekend, but it is also being released the day before, the 4th of May, which, as everyone
Some
knows,
might say it's a prequel to the 4th of May.
Speaking of prequels, a big fan of the prequels is joining us today on this episode. A very special episode. A man called Eddie Ashcroft. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Eddie Ashcroft. How are you?
Good. How's it going, Eddie? You live in a different, for our listeners, you live in a completely different part of Scotland to me. So
I
how's
live
Aberdeen
in
today? We usually
one of the northernmost territories of Scotland. Approximately halfway up.
Nice.
So grey.
It's pretty grey today. It's due to rain. Got washing on the line, but it is raining right now.
What do you like to do? What do you like to do, Eddie? What's your thing that you'd like to let the listeners know about you?
I'm probably just like a generally pretty cool guy.
Nice.
Cocaine and hookers, my friend.
If you were looking for a guy that you'd be like, man, I really want to know that guy. Probably me.
Nice. Well, if you want Eddie to come back on the podcast, you can write to us on Twitter or Instagram at That's Class Pod. You can also write to us on gmail.com at That's Class Pod again.
What was the email again?
That's classpod at gmail.com.
Okay. And how many emails will I need?
Just need one.
Just one gets me back on.
Maybe.
I can't wait for I can't wait. You say that now, Rory, but depending on what happens in the next sort of 45 minutes to an hour, I'll be reading the emails and Rory would just be printing them out and then throwing them in the trash.
Yeah.
For the image of doing it.
Absolutely. I'm going to forward it all to Duncan. I don't want to read any emails. But I might get rid of this whole spiel because if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know where to find it. We're available on everywhere you get your podcast. Spotify, Apple Podcast, Anchor FM is where we host everything and it distributes it all over the shop. And every Wednesday we upload the same episode to YouTube, so you can log onto YouTube and see our faces and instantly regret the decision. You can see who Eddie is, what he looks like, what his background is. He built that room himself. It's pretty impressive.
Big regret if you do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
No. The voices, just stick to the voice.
Stick to the voice.
But if
your imagination, Roman.
If you've read the title of this episode, we are taking a deep dive into the Star Wars franchise, to be more specific, the Skywalker saga. So the 9 movies that create the 3 trilogies that have been made. And we're going to rank them. We're going to review them. We're going to have a heated discussion. We're probably not going to do any news because I think we should just get straight into it. And it's going to be probably an hour of some hectic
We can just quickly say, has anyone watched anything cool this week that they recommend?
I finished.
Oh. Eddie.
Oh, I've messed up already.
Eddie from Aberdeen.
I finished rewatching The Office, the American Office, this week.
Oh, nice.
That is a pleasant experience second time round.
Yeah. I actually had been watching it as well. I've just gotten to the part where Andy is now the boss.
Yeah.
And
that's a lot later on than I remember it being when I watched it first time.
I thought I thought Michael Scott left a lot earlier.
Yeah. I mean, I think it must be like season 7 or something.
I think so.
How many episodes is there, though? You seen that? Like 9 seasons, 23 episodes a season on average.
It just seems I might just put it on the background now.
Oh no, don't, because it gets much better now.
Oh, okay.
I thought so. It got really good. The end, emotional ending.
Emotional ending.
Reliving that again.
Duncan Malcolm from That's Class. What have you been watching?
Probably the biggest thing we watched this week was Palm Springs, which is that Andy Samberg movie. It's on Amazon Prime.
I've seen that be advertised. Is it good?
It's really good. It's actually really funny, and it's co-produced by Lonely Island Productions, so he must have had a hand in producing it as well. And it's really good. It's told very well. Plot's pretty Groundhog Day-ish, but it works. It just works. Funny.
Is it Lonely Island type production comedy, or is it kind of like Brooklyn Nine-Nine type comedy? Or
it's definitely adult. It's neither.
Yeah, it's neither of those.
Eddie.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really good.
I thought it's definitely got some like adult bits in it. Some sort of not. Yeah, it's just funny.
But you said it's like Groundhog Day, so is it like repeating the same day over and over again?
Yeah, it's the premise of it. It's kind of a time loop thing. But I don't want to spoil it too much because it is pretty funny.
Who else is in it?
The mother from How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, Kristen Milotti.
Don't know.
I think her name is. And then J.K. Simmons is in it as well.
He's in everything right now. Speaking of J.K. Simmons, I finished the season finale of Invincible, which we will talk about next week because we got a heavy topic this week.
Heavy topic this week, but yeah, it was good. It was actually a good finale, better, and I pretty much saw that ending coming. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Saw that twist. But,
yeah, pretty predictable, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty good though.
I wonder. I mean, we'll talk about this more next week, but I wonder if it's as predictable as a comic book as it was as a TV show.
Well, that's true.
Questions of the pod.
Questions. Who knows? Well, speaking of predictability, should we start with our lists or unpredictability?
Unpredictability. Now, who wants to go first? So, just to. Is
this? Is this maybe good if we go like 1? What's everyone put as 1? 2? What's everyone put as 2? Well, and then you don't forget the list that's been read out first.
Yeah, I will also. I'll write down everyone else's list as well, so that I have an accurate idea of who's got what. I can edit all this out, so
we can go 9. So everyone says 9. Everyone says 8. Everyone says 7.
You've got 9 as first. Wow.
No, I meant start at the bottom and work our way up to the top. Whoa, steady on there. Oh, it's a hot mess. No, I don't. I'll probably say start at the bottom and work our way to the top.
Nice. Okay, so we will go from 9 to 1.
1.
Okay. So Eddie, what is your number 9?
8.
Please say the name of this movie as well.
Please say the name of the movie.
I think 8 is The Last Jedi.
Yeah, The Last Jedi.
It is.
Yeah.
Nice. Duncan, what is your number 9?
Number 9, Last Jedi. Number 8, just terrible.
The Last Jedi. Cool. My number 9 is Attack of the Clones.
Wow.
Which, Eddie's a big prequel fan, so we'll see where that lies in his list.
Okay, kid. As you're the one that's different, go for it. Why do you what's wrong with it?
What's wrong with Attack of the What's fucking right with Attack of the Clones?
Psych! The answer is nothing's wrong with Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones, for me, it's Hayden Christensen. I don't like Hayden Christensen as an actor. I didn't think he did a very good job in this whole trilogy. Well, the 2 movies he was in. In the Attack of the Clones, he is just a moody little teenager who wants Obi-Wan's approval. There's also way too much crappy CGI, and there's the whole sand scene. They go away, him and Padme go away for a while, and then he's like, I hate sand, it gets everywhere, it's so coarse. And we've talked about this in our chat, and you guys have taken the piss out of it, but you guys, this movie sucks for me. I think that the TV show is better. of Clone Wars that kind of tells you a deeper dive into the stories of what happened rather than
no, he's got
the actual movie.
I mean, you don't get the Clone Wars without the Attack of the Clones.
He has a point.
Potentially.
Oh, no. He has a point. So, backhand, back across the net.
I'm going to stop you right there. You do get the Clone Wars because the Clone Wars is mentioned in A New Hope, the first ever Star Wars movie.
Oh, boy.
Just saying.
Okay.
Oh, no, hit the net. Bounced over. The one thing about Attack of the Clones, right, is you say he wants to be a moody teenager, but isn't he actually a moody teenager developmentally in that film?
Yeah, but
that's kind of his character. Like,
yeah, but
that's kind of his point of him.
Yeah,
like
he's slacking him off for like being crap, but you're annoyed at him because and you think he's bad because he's done such a good job of being a moody teenager.
Okay, yeah. So maybe as an actor, he did okay. As a written character, it was written poorly, in my opinion. What are your thoughts, Eddie?
Well, like of the first three, Attack of the Clones is the weakest of the three. It's the furthest down my list.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I'll give you that because there's a lot of political stuff in it. But I mean,
oh my god, yeah.
It
I want to see a lightsaber fight.
Yeah, it builds to it though. So I mean, yeah, no, I'm quite a fan of. Obi-Wan does a lot for me. Ewan McGregor does a lot for me.
Yeah.
I quite like in the first three the build-up of Anakin and how he gets to the final point, especially at the end of episode 3 when he gets to that point.
Revenge of the Sith.
I think it helps build to that, and that's and
it's a good stepping stone of a movie, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean I think if they were doing it now, it'd maybe be a bit. You'd like to think they'd hit the head of the nail a bit better in hindsight, and it maybe wouldn't be so sort of heavy on the build-up, and maybe they would fit a bit more sort of, hey, someone's fighting on the go.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when you're watching Star Wars, yeah, like you said, you're watching it for lightsaber fights and like cool stuff going on. It's like,
you're watching it, so the one scene in that movie that sticks out for me is the Colosseum scene. Because that's the one scene that has a crap ton of Jedi fighting some robots, and it's wicked.
This party's over.
Yeah.
Yes, no, it's not. It's just getting started.
And then Mace Windu decapitates the Mandalorian.
Decapitates Jango Fett, and then the clones attack.
Yeah.
It's Attack of the Clones.
Oh my god. Did anyone actually say the title of the movie? No. That's the type of movie that this is. I imagine they'd be like, "Oh my god, it's the Attack of the Clones!" Wink at the camera.
No, it's the end. He goes like, "Begun the Clone Wars have," or something like that.
Oh,
That's kind of as close as you get.
Classic Yoda. So that's my number 9, but your number 9 is The Last Jedi. Shall we talk about The Last Jedi?
Just a terrible film.
It is a terrible film.
Just terrible. It tries to be different when nobody really wanted it to be different, and it kind of went in a direction that wasn't set up from the last film. So it's kind of like it started its own trilogy, and it was kind of like if you no one got on the same page for that trilogy, really, and it clearly shows.
Everyone but Rian Johnson.
He's clearly off in his own world. It has the world's slowest space chase, the least exciting space chase of all time. Everyone seems to always end up back on the same fucking ship, which I think is impressive. And then they all go down to this giant sort of red velvet cake planet, where it's like white on top and red underneath. And then that's it.
Horses. Was this the one with the horses?
It is the one with the horses.
Space horses!
Space horses go burr.
Why the hell was there a whole scene about trying to get some space horses, and then they did nothing with them?
Yeah.
But they did that with the entire... There's so many characters they did nothing with. They dragged poor Benicio del Toro into it.
Yeah. Who should have been involved a lot more, in my opinion. It was this movie. Eddie, any thoughts on this movie?
Yeah, I was just refreshing my mind on the plot there because I mean, do you know what the sequels, I enjoyed watching them for just watching them, but I've got no desire to go back and watch them again.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I kind of watched them. I didn't really, when I'm watching them, I'm not really thinking about it as I'm watching them. Like I don't really watch movies to then go and talk about them.
Yeah.
So hey, I'm on a podcast.
Hey, you're on this podcast.
But yeah, I kind of just like I'm refreshing my mind. I'm like, oh, Luke Skywalker was in. Oh yeah, so he was. Yeah, they brought him back from the dead. Or he wasn't dead, but they just shoehorned him into a film because it's Luke Skywalker. But yeah, the three.
They looked good. Yeah. The sequels looked good.
Yeah,
we'll give them that. They look, on the big screen. They did look fantastic.
One thing they make is, for me, is they make it difficult to go back and watch the original trilogy.
Why? Because it seems so dated now.
Yeah. I quite struggle watching like really
slower.
dated films and stuff like that. It's just like,
yeah.
But
I see. But in a comparison or an argument to that is, although it's harder to go back to the originals because of the CGI and the look, and it's obviously filmed in film and not digital.
Yeah.
The stories are still a lot better. For the original trilogy, the stories work better than the new trilogy, in my opinion.
But I wonder if that's maybe because the stories are a bit simpler. And maybe in the newer ones, they've maybe tried to get a bit too complicated.
They've added way too many characters.
Too many people on the go, and then they're trying to do it in like the space of a movie.
Yeah.
All these like character arcs, whereas in the original trilogy, they're like, here's Luke and Leia. Here's
Han Solo. Here's Han Solo.
They kill off Obi-Wan Kenobi in the first one as well. So like loads of characters, kill one off.
Yeah.
Okay, we weren't going to talk about that this early.
That's too
Obi-Wan. So moving on to your number 8. My number 8 is The Last Jedi. So it was close to the bottom.
I think you're going to be pretty annoyed with what I put as number 8.
Go for it. You're going to put one of the originals, probably?
Empire Strikes Back.
Oh my god. That's outrageous.
It's not outrageous, it's not unfair. It's a democracy.
Duncan?
My number 8 is Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, thank God. If you had also put Empire, I would have called Collusion.
It's worth saying that my number 7 is also The Rise of Skywalker.
So is mine. All of our... So, yeah, Rise of Skywalker...
Is this end of the list.
Is this bottom 3, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what would you like to talk about first? I think we should talk about Rise of Skywalker is the closest one to all of us.
Yeah. Rise of Skywalker is my 8. It's Eddie's number 7.
Yeah, my number 8. And your number 8.
I don't know. Right, okay. So, Rise of Skywalker has everything, like, compared to Last Jedi, for me, it has everything that you like about Star Wars, right? It covers so much ground, but it's, once again, fun to watch. It was good in the cinema.
Yeah.
But they missed so many chances to throw cool stuff in that you've been waiting on. It looks good. It kind of has all the music and everything looks fantastic. And once, like Eddie says, there's too many characters. There's too much stuff going on. They had to shoehorn poor old Lando Calrissian into it because they've killed off everybody else. So he's got to be in it. They missed a whole bunch of callbacks and stuff they probably could have done. And if you read all the drama surrounding the film, like the original script had them go to like Naboo and like all those places. Pay homage to that Nabooty. And then like the whole ship scene at the end, it was like, we want to put every ship from Star Wars in it. Why?
Yes.
Why? Because you just had a really cool, like, all the wings calling in again sort of thing. And it'd been epic. And it was a bit too much. And it's like every Death Star, it's like, it's 1 billion Star Destroyers and they all have Death Star cannons. You're like, okay, this is getting a bit much now.
As a whole,
and the Space Horses came back.
And the horses came back as well. Yeah.
Horses across. It's just, and it's so jumbled. And there's a bit where, my favorite bit is the bit where she has the dagger and she has to like look at the wreckage of the old Death Star. But the dagger was made before the Death Star crashed. So how could she lines it up to the wreckage? It's like if the dagger was cut before the Death Star crash, how do you
Then
know
that wouldn't line
it's
up.
going to line up? Yeah.
I didn't clock
that's a
that.
bit-
I didn't know that.
It's a bit ropey.
I just thought it
Yeah,
was such a video game MacGuffin. Like, it was get this tool, and then you'll progress with the mission, and you have to do it. It sounded like an Uncharted game for me.
Oh yeah.
Get a thing, solve a puzzle, find out where to go next. Solve a puzzle, find out where to go next. The only bit I thought was good in that movie was the fight scene in the throne room.
Yeah.
And even that was pretty trash, because if you actually look at the guys in red...
That's the Last Jedi.
Oh, is that the last... Oh, never mind. I can't remember this
That's how
last movie then,
confusing
Rise
it
of
is, yeah.
Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker, they're all in Palpatine's in. They're all in Palpatine. There is a pretty cool fight scene on when Kylo's on his way to
Yeah, actually.
Palpatine.
They finally used that, like,
Yeah,
force...
pass a lightsaber
passing a
through the force.
lightsaber, and
yeah.
he does the Han
Yeah.
Solo shrug, which was actually pretty
yeah.
cool. But that was maybe the only cool part of that whole thing.
But that's what I'm saying. There's loads of there's some cool bits, but they could have done. They genuinely, that whole film should have just been callbacks. Just about they should have just given the fans what they wanted.
Yeah,
I
don't think
good. But yeah,
they did not. As we like to say on this podcast, did they stick the landing? I don't think they stuck the landing
No.
on any of these new movies.
What?
Maybe
Thing that kind
Force
of
Awakens
Maybe
is
the
alright.
first. Wait, what was the first one called?
Force Awakens.
Force
That one
Awakens.
was. I think that one was pretty good, even though it
That
was
was alright,
basically
yeah.
number one repeated.
I think one of the things with the sequels is they introduced like a load of Force things that hadn't been in any of the ones before, and you're
Yeah.
sort of thinking like, oh well, like Padme wouldn't be dead. Well, no, she did die because of it. But like the Force healing,
Yeah,
and, like the passing the stuff between the Force, speaking to each other full on using Force,
Yeah.
like, oh wow, we're in the same room as each other, but we're actually at different sides of the galaxy. We're talking, and it's raining
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Oh my god, I've lost my lightsaber. Please, someone just pass one to me.
Yeah. Or
You know,
I'm Luke Skywalker and I can project myself as
Yeah.
myself, but I'm actually meditating on a mountain. It's like, shut up.
Like Jesus.
Yeah.
my problem with it isn't that it's all really cool, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like that's cool that the Force has this, but there's no you got the first ones with like Luke's kind of learning, and even the cool stuff where he's just learning to use a lightsaber using the
Yeah.
Force on the Millennium Falcon with the thing, and he's just like
He's got the
Like-
blind helmet on.
there's not really enough of that building up to
Yeah.
it. Like somehow Rey knows she can just heal Kylo. Like how does she know that?
Exactly. This is my argument with this new trilogy.
She's a Mary Sue.
She's a protagonist that just doesn't struggle. She just knows and accomplishes it.
Okay, you could maybe argue that she spent a bit of time with Luke, so maybe he's taught her more. Like his,
But
like,
even
in
before
YouTube-
Luke,
in
she fights a
like,
Sith.
here's something I've done off screen. Like-
all she does with Luke is like chop rocks. That's what it looks like.
But like
and
even in
milk some wee
the
things.
Force Awakens, she fights Kylo Ren in the snow and wins at one point, like slices
Yeah.
him. And it's like
yeah, and
you're
he's
not
been
even
training his
trained.
whole life as like
Yeah.
Sith. Yeah,
Bullshit.
He's got a big fuck off great sword as well. Like a sword,
He's got a big broadsword.
Yeah.
The worst of
Broadsword
the swords.
lightsaber.
even Finn's like knocking about with a lightsaber, like hey.
I think everyone wanted him to be the Jedi, and then he wasn't.
Yeah.
And then Rey was like, "Meh."
Me
It's
too,
so easy
gone
to
mad.
fix. That's what makes it so maddening though. It's because you look at it, you're like, there's so many bits that could have worked, and it's just like no one talked to each other. No one had a conversation.
yeah.
Was there ever a script meeting?
Yeah.
Right, we should probably put all our ideas
Yeah.
down on paper and work out where we're going with this.
There was also like the only times they ever came together was like, we come together, but you go do this, you go do that. Whereas like,
Yeah.
right, this is what's happening. What do you think? And like, here's something I've learned. It's right. I'm going there. You're going there. We need to fight. We need to win. Like,
It's like
Why?
you've nailed it on the head there, because you've got all these nice characters, and in comparison to the original trilogy, Han, Luke, and Leia all work together. They're all on the
Yeah.
same planet. But most of the time they're together and interacting with one another.
yeah.
But because they've added Poe, Rey, the round robot,
Finn.
Finn, Kylo,
Leia.
C3PO,
Leia,
Luke, Han,
Han,
Chewie.
yeah. It's
Rose.
just there's so many Rose. What a shame. There's just so many characters kicking about that they. I feel like they genuinely had to give them those B plots.
They just like
because there was too much going on.
Scooby Doo. You pair up and go here. You pair up and go here. And there's two hot ones will go down here and have fun.
And because they're not because they don't like spend that much time together, right? Because even Finn gets punted off with a new character in Last Jedi in Rose, right?
Yeah.
By the time it comes to the last one, and they're all being pally in that, right? And they're all like, "Oh, what?" Have you, like they're arguing over the Millennium Falcon. It's like, how are they all? How do they know each other so well? It feels like we haven't seen them spend any time together.
Okay, so
I'll just keep.
Eddie, you're number
7.
8.
No, 8.
Your number 8
Empire.
was Empire. Please explain why.
Bit of a nothing film.
All right.
What happened?
What happened?
Yeah.
So the rebels were basically overpowered by the Empire, and then you had the ice planet Hoth. Luke is training to be a Jedi with Yoda, and Han and Leia are being pursued by Darth Vader and Boba Fett, and it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. I just didn't really do it for me. I just feel like it's a bit like the original trilogy's Attack of the Clones, kind of a bit of a mid ground.
This is a frustrating chat right now.
It's just, like,
let me just counter argument you with IMDb, okay? Which isn't always, to everyone's liking. IMDb isn't always accurate to other people's opinions. Empire Strikes Back is the number 1 Star Wars movie on IMDb from ratings and Metacritic score.
Okay.
It's got 8.7 stars out of 10, and
Right.
it's got 82 Metacritic critic thing. I don't know what that means.
And your point is, caller?
Yeah,
My point is, you're wrong.
Like to form my own opinions on things, and
I mean, that's fine. You're entitled to your own opinion, but you're wrong.
Oh.
I mean,
Your brother gave you that one, did he?
I mean, I can't change Eddie's opinion.
no.
Duncan, what's your number 7, so that we all have at least 3 at the bottom?
My number 7 is dun 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 Empire Strikes Back.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No. I'll tell you why, right? I'll tell you why.
Please do. Inform me.
I watch Empire Strikes Back, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of, it's not that it's a nothing film, but I kind of agree with Eddie. I watch Empire Strikes Back, and it, for whatever reason, it does nothing for me. I can't explain it. It genuinely does. I don't, like, compared to where the rest of my list, the Empire Strikes Back obviously is very critical to the story, but I don't enjoy it at any point. I know it sounds daft, and I can't really, like, it kind of starts big, and then you have this massive lull in the middle where it's kind of like Luke on Dagobah is kind of interesting, but it was kind of cool to see different worlds. I wonder if a lot of it is kind of when you first saw that in the 80s, right? I bet you that looked like there was nothing else like it, right? But then I kind of agree with it, going back
70s.
and watching it again. Was it late 70s?
I don't know. Star Wars
No, it
was
was
77,
80.
so
So I think Empire was 80s.
80.
'cause
80.
yeah, sorry,
1980.
1980. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you go back to 80, especially 80, right? There was nothing else like that. It was one of the biggest films of all time at the time. But it just does not. The problem with Empire is you look at other things and you take into all the factors of where you put them and why you put them, where you put them. And it just falls down the list because of that.
I feel like you find it is a similar. What's funny is because it's the middle of the trilogy.
Yeah, it's the middle.
I'm seeing a pattern here that most of the middle of the trilogies on you guys are bottom 3 because technically they are stepping stone episodes, stepping stone movies.
It's not so much that, because I would put Two Towers. If it was Lord of the Rings, I'd put Two Towers quite high up.
Yeah,
it's
but
a
that's
really
because
good
it's
film.
this is a different franchise and it's about
I
battles.
know it's a different franchise, but what I'm saying, it's not to do with the bat. It's to do with the, like I said, the character development in Empire is only really about Luke.
Not really. It pushes
agree.
on. It starts the Han Solo Princess Leia relationship, and then he gets frozen in carbonite and does the whole "I love you, I know" scene.
Yeah,
The worst Star Wars
it's not to say it doesn't
relationship.
have iconic moments. I think the problem is that
pretty
you've
aggressive.
You've got to put this film. You've got to put the film somewhere in the list. Actually, it's not that all these films have, like, even The Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker had cool moments or moments that you remember.
Yeah,
It introduces Boba Fett. It's like there are cool bits. It doesn't do as much for me as the other ones did at the time and on rewatches.
One of my things that I noticed with the original trilogy is it's like the big baddie. Like, you're watching it and like, Vader's not really the big baddie. The big baddie's the Death Star. So episode like A New Hope, you've got the Death Star. It's just blown up a planet. We need to destroy it. They've destroyed it. The Empire Strikes Back. We're rebuilding the Death Star.
there's another one.
So what else is happening?
Yeah.
But
Return
then
of the
it's
Jedi,
also
we're blowing up the Death Star again. Like,
it is the development of Luke. Luke finally meets the
Meets
Emperor.
Yoda in Return.
Return of the
Doesn't
Jedi.
meet the Emperor.
He doesn't meet
in
him in Empire.
Strikes- No.
Well, he
meets
finds
Vader
out.
in a cave.
Does he not find out his dad? That Darth Vader is his dad. That's this movie.
That's the big twist. Yeah,
that's
that
the
was
twist
like
in
the
the
big
movie.
twist.
yeah.
Yeah. Which is important
Yeah.
to the rest of the story.
Yeah.
But the overall film, I don't think it suffers from this real lack of, for me, it's a real interesting lack of pacing, because even this kind of, you've got Luke's, it kind of starts off huge, right, which is fine.
It's great. The
And
Hoth
then-
scene is incredible.
Yeah, Hoss, once again, it looks great.
Yeah.
But once you start, I think there's a lot of people love Empire because of what it means to them. But as you go, if you're being critical, it starts off really good. Then they split up, like we were talking about earlier. You go this way, I'll go this way.
Yeah.
Luke's bit on Dagobah is, once again, good for the plot, but isn't actually that exciting, really. Kind of a bit tedious.
Now that you say
And
it, the Jedi training is just Yoda on his back, and he's like flipping over trees.
Is me using the Force
then-
to lift an X-wing fighter out
Yeah.
of the water.
Yeah,
Wow.
like that X-wing, it feels like that X-wing's done and dusted. And then on the other side, like the actual asteroid chase for the Millennium Falcon through the asteroid field is okay, but it's not
pretty
got
cool.
any. It's cool, but it doesn't feel like there's any real threat because of when it takes place. And it's like, oh, we can like. They then get nearly eaten by the Sarlacc or whatever it is that's in the asteroid,
Which
And
is
then they
also,
end up-
by the way, redone in Episode 1. That was a homage to Empire. There's always a bigger fish.
Oh, there's always a bigger fish. Yeah. So there's that, and
Qui-Gon.
yeah, it's just it suffers from pacing, and then Cloud. The whole actual Bespin bit is really slow as well.
The what?
The whole Bespin bit. Once again, like we talk about, like not politics ruining kind of the second one for a bit, but it's the same principle. Bespin's really slow. Darth Vader takes out Han Solo in the space of like 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Like, dude's in carbonite before you know it, and then he's fighting Luke Skywalker, where he basically beats the shit out of him.
Yeah.
May as well have had because he was dead. May as well have had a slipper. Just fucking beat the shit out of him. Yeah, that's just why I've got it down there. But the other reasons for the other ones, like I said, it all depends on where you rank them when you saw
I think
them.
I put it a lot higher up in my list because I just think as a story and as it develops the story, it almost makes it helps make the first and the third a lot better for me. So that when you watch A New Hope, you go, "Oh, this is about to happen in Empire," and then when you watch Empire, you're like, "Oh, shit's about to go down," because Return of the Jedi is the next movie, and that's probably when you rewatch that movie, it's the darkest start to a Star Wars movie, I think, because if you don't know what's happened, like we'll get into Return of the Jedi later on when we find out where it is.
Yeah.
But Luke shows up at Jabba's house,
Jabba's Hutt.
and at the end of Empire, he is told by his dad that, he's told by Darth Vader that he's his dad. He wants to join him and stuff. He goes, "Oh, no," and he gets his hand chopped off, and then he falls and then gets picked up, and then he's like, "I don't know what my life is anymore." The next scene is the next movie that you see Luke, right? And he is in all black and a black glove, and he force chokes a motherfucker. And you're like, has Luke turned to the dark side?
Yeah, when did that happen?
That was at the very start.
Off-screen.
Yeah, off-screen dark side. But then
yeah.
he's got a green lightsaber, and it's like, that's badass.
That was a mistake as well.
Oh, I like it. I love a green lightsaber.
I know, but it was an editing.
Oh, was it really?
They made it green. Yeah, they fucked up. They were meant to make it blue. They made it green.
That's a good
really
fun
paid
fact.
attention until it was set. Right, next one. Go for it.
Next one is number 6. So, Eddie, what is your number 6?
Let me go last.
Okay, so my number 6 is Revenge of the Sith. I'm sorry, but you did it to me.
How dare you? How dare you?
High ground.
My number 6 is Force Awakens.
Really? Force Awakens. Eddie? You're going to put A New Hope or Jedi or something.
A New Hope.
A New Hope. That's fair enough. That's all right.
Out of the original trilogy, I preferred The Return of the Jedi most. Yeah.
Well then,
just where it sits for me.
Yeah, cool. So,
go on, Roy. What was your one?
Just feel like I'm letting you down and bullying you a bit. But,
that's fine.
Revenge of the Sith. Go on then, Roy.
My number 6.
You put Revenge of the Sith in here.
So,
Rory,
why have you put the great Star Wars film down?
Because it's not the greatest Star Wars film.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion even if you're wrong.
Revenge of the Sith, for me, is fine. It gets all dark, and the fight scene in that lava planet is pretty sweet. Okay, I'll grant that. That's awesome. That whole scene is amazing, and like Obi-Wan's just like, "Fuck, you were my brother. You're supposed to bring balance, and you're the dark side now." That's awesome. And even when I watch it now, it's pretty emotional because they spend this trilogy almost being brothers. Like, he's his little brother, and he's like grown him up and tried to train him.
They are brothers, yeah.
But as a movie, I just don't like the character of Anakin, and I can't get past it. And I don't think much else happens other than the fact that he's like, "Oh, what do I do? That's the dark side, and Obi-Wan's my friend." But the Emperor's like, "Do it, join me." And he's like, and then I'm going to kill.
That's literally what Return of the Jedi is. I find your lack of faith disturbing, Rory. I really do.
What's the Obi-Wan quote? Well, you're wrong. What is it? I've said it wrong.
Well, in my view, the Jedi are wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Jedi are evil.
Yeah, that was it. The Chancellor is evil.
You're wrong, Anakin.
Oh, Anakin.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just not up there in my like. If I was to see these 9 movies in front of me, which one would I pick up 6th to watch? It's not. It's going to be that one. Yeah. Sorry.
I'll save talking about.
But I will explain
Sith
why. I'll explain why it's so far down, because I've got another one from the original trilogy that's pretty high up, and that's mostly nostalgia reasons and pod racing.
Pod racing.
Attack of the Clones.
Yeah. So that's why. Yeah.
Okay.
What? A New Hope, Eddie. What's wrong with A New Hope?
I don't think there's much wrong, but I just struggle with the original ones. I struggle to go back and watch them now. And especially the first one, everything seems a bit. It's starting it out. The story's not. Maybe I'll probably reconsider my list again at some point after this. Probably.
My list
We've
is
talked about
flip-flopped so many times. Yeah.
But when you're committing to a list, you've got your reasons.
Yeah.
And I just had other stuff higher up. I'd maybe next on my list, I've got Attack of the Clones, and maybe I'm being a bit too harsh on A New Hope when I wrote this list, thinking like, yeah, the prequels, screw the original trilogy. But,
because that was why I was worried about this whole episode, is because you, Boehner, and Duncan know how much I quite like the originals, and you guys are going, oh, my list is just going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
No, it was 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and 3.
1.
1. Pod racing.
3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Nice.
3, 1, 2.
No, but yeah, I kind of just struggle with they've come on and I've seen them on TV and I've tried to sit through and watch them, and so I try not to get caught up in nostalgia with some things. There's some films that are like total nostalgia kicks for me, and the nostalgia kicks worn off the original trilogy.
Because I was going to say, that's probably one of the reasons why I've got it so high up, is because I watched it so young and I'm just like, fuck, this movie's incredible. I'm maybe rose-tinted glasses, maybe just looking at it, and
I've sort of had that nostalgia for the original trilogy, watching them, at home on probably VHS. I've kind of had that replaced with the nostalgia that I've got for watching the prequels at home on DVD.
Yeah,
I don't know. True. I can't really explain it. It's just I've got a bit more nostalgia around watching the prequels than I do the original trilogy.
I think that's because we grew up with the prequel trilogy. Whereas, like, so if anybody feels older, like if you have older siblings or uncles or even your parents, if they've watched them, then they grew up with the original trilogy. So if they were into Star Wars, that's the ones you probably would have watched.
Yeah.
But then all the toys, all the games that were played were the prequel trilogy, because that's the age we were.
Yeah,
it's actually offensive to see Obi-Wan as not Ewan McGregor now.
Yeah, genuinely.
You're not an old man.
I take offense at that.
Which you must be excited for the new Obi-Wan TV show coming to Disney Plus, featuring Ewan McGregor.
I've not watched any Disney stuff yet.
But that's the thing about nostalgia, right? If you wanted, so Eddie's saying the nostalgia of the original trilogy is worn off. If you wanted to feel that nostalgia, you'd be better off watching Rogue One or The Mandalorian. Because those two actually have the nostalgia of the original trilogy, but they're modern filming.
And to be fair, Rogue One, if this was in my list, Rogue One is number 1.
I would say it's high.
It's one of my favorite Star Wars movies. That is, it's not a Skywalker saga, but it's one of my top Star Wars movies.
Yeah,
but that's my thing about nostalgia. So, like, if you think about it, it gives you it gives you that sweet nostalgia hit, but none of the consequences of having to sit through the original filming and the original scripts.
Yeah,
written by a teenage George that wrote lightsaber. Nice.
Yeah, nice. But what's really frustrating,
his lightsaber.
What's frustrating about the originals is when you go back to them now, you can only ever find the digitally enhanced version now, which is when George Lucas got a hold of them and was like, we're going to put a CGI monster in here. We're going to change the scene with Han Solo so that he doesn't shoot first, so that he's not a badass.
Just CGI Jabba, which is the most worst thing I've ever seen.
I feel like if they bring in like a 4K HD version of the cinematic release, I think people might feel differently. I don't know, maybe not.
That's true.
But I think in similar ways to you, Eddie, my nostalgia for the original trilogy is still pretty strong with me. Whereas, although we did grow up with the prequels, and granted, when they came out, absolutely loved the prequels. But as I got older, and although you're not one to watch a movie and then talk about it, that's something that I've always done with my brother.
Yeah. And
then we went back. And when we went back to watch it with a different mindset, we're like, actually, the prequels aren't that great. They're very kid-friendly movies. And then what we really didn't like about the new trilogy is that, one, it's now owned by Disney, so now it really is a kids' movie. And they just, I don't know. That's why I like the originals, is because it's still quite, no one can die. The originals are still quite out there and weird, and adult, slightly more adult, because the good guy shot a guy first, like without hesitation, but they had to edit
Incest.
that out. Incest.
I would
Yeah.
argue the prequels have consequences as well, whereas the original trilogy has only like one main character death until the end. The prequels have like people die all the time.
Yeah, but also
Qui-Gon, go on.
Qui-Gon.
No, it's too soon, Eddie. It's too soon.
I will find you.
Criminally underused.
Oh, yeah, but we know why he had to. We know why he had to.
We
die.
know why he had to die.
We know why he had to die. So,
moving on. Why did he have to die? Moving on to number 4. Our top. Actually, Duncan, what's your number 5? We've got Eddie's number 5.
6. So 6 is Force Awakens.
Yeah.
We've talked kind of about the sequel to it. I just watched in the cinema. Really looked forward to it. The Force Awakens doesn't bear the burden of the other two because it was kind of making it up. It kind of was the first story.
Yeah.
And it looked good at the time. I quite enjoyed. I would watch if the Force Awakens was on, I would watch it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch the other ones, but I would watch Force Awakens because it was cool to see all the
I have the Force Awakens at number 5. And that's,
okay, so we're close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's only because it was, it's such an anticipated movie in 2010 or whenever it came out.
Yeah.
You're finally back into this Star Wars universe. Okay, 2015. And it just introduces these new characters, and it like sells on your nostalgia that we just talked about. Like, oh, that ship's a piece of garbage. Oh, fuck, it's the Millennium Falcon. And then all these things happen, and you meet Han, and you get Chewie.
Han.
Yeah. What's up, Eddie?
Cool.
Eddie Ashcroft from Aberdeen.
They made BB-8 like the actual droid. Like, think about how technically achievement of BB-8, like the whole like ball on top of a ball thing, and keep it amazing. That's a real thing. Was pretty cool. They like went back and did all like the whole Maz Kanata's castle thing, which you can blow up to shit in Battlefront 2, is full of like people in prosthetics. So it feels like an actual. You've got that real vibe of like fucking hell. This feels like a real place.
Do you feel like
it's just cool?
Do you feel like The Force Awakens benefits from all it had to do was set up the next trilogy? It benefited from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the next two, they're then busy trying to like craft a story and keep some continuity, and it's just like, oh, we introduced way too many people in return. So like The Force Awakens, it's like, here's this guy, here's this guy, here's this guy. What do you think's going to happen? And everyone's like dropping in.
Everyone's like,
here's the general story.
Awesome.
Snoke's there. You're like, crap! It's like it's the new Palpatine.
The
Force, how big is it? Is he really tiny?
By itself.
Yeah,
it works by itself.
Yeah,
as if it was a standalone movie with with just like a cliffhanger. Great movie.
Yeah,
it's a really good movie.
Yeah,
the fight scenes are good. There's the very shoehorned. This guy's a really good pilot of Poe, and there was the scene when Finn goes, "That's one hell of a pilot." All right, cool. All right, very good.
But the thing is, him going, "That's one hell of a pilot," is really annoying because that scene with the X-Wing is really cool.
It's so cool, and then
it's so good.
But what's amazing with movies is that you see a lot of critics and like movie critics say, "Show, don't tell." And this whole scene is showing you how great a pilot he is, and then Finn has to go and tell you anyway.
Including the fact he's in a black and orange X-Wing, which is the only one there, so you know it's his. Yeah, you've already seen it's his. It's badass. You've seen it. You know it's his. And now it's like, that's one hell of a Patrick. We already know who it is.
Just in case you didn't know.
I mean, at the end of the day, what they've been better off doing was have him do all the flips and turns and stuff, because he comes out the final loop and he like does this like woo thing, right? And as he comes out, he should have gone, now that was pod racing.
Nice.
You like, go back.
Do you think like, so you've got the Stormtrooper as Finn, you've got the ace fighter pilot as Poe, and then you've got Rey as like the Force user.
Yeah.
Like in the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, those three characters were Luke and Anakin.
Yeah.
So already you can sort of see they've gone, well, we can't just have one. We can get 3 characters out of this. We can get more money out of this because that's 3 action figures. Yeah. That's 3 sets of toys.
Yeah.
So you wonder if where
it was a
prequels and the originals kept it kind of kept a core like set of characters and kept it simple like that, and this one guy does all these things and that makes them like the person.
Yeah, you follow.
Whereas now you're sort of moving on, and you're a lot less invested in Rey and Finn.
Yeah,
because you're not like everyone's whole hopes isn't on that one person. It's like, oh, if Rey dies, like the other two, they're not bad. They can. Finn's like, well, Finn can die. No one cares. Like Poe can die, but like,
yeah. And they
obviously want it to be Rey.
Exactly
but not
what I thought
enough.
when watching the movie was Rey seemed a bit wooden to me, and maybe it's the acting or maybe it's how she was written. Like
she was hot though.
Yeah, she's very attractive.
She's got that going for her, which is nice.
But like I felt
actress.
more. I mean, throughout the story, I was like, I wonder if they're going to do that J.J. Abrams twist, and it's not actually about Rey; it's about Finn. And Rey,
That'd be good.
You know, but then that's how I felt like it was written. Like you've got all these 3, maybe 4 main characters, and then Rey's going off on her own adventure, and then you hear she touches a lightsaber, and you hear Ewan McGregor, and I was like, fuck, she's Obi-Wan's daughter, and then she's not. But like Finn, for me, seemed like he had more of a character arc. Like he's trying to leave the stormtroopers. He doesn't. That whole first scene is insane. With Kylo.
It's insane. Yeah.
This movie, maybe I should bump this up. This movie's really good.
I agree. I agree with you there. I think they wasted Finn a little bit.
Yeah, and Poe
because he the way that first one, it kind of teased the way he used his lightsaber and was fighting. And I had a quick read of the plot synopsis just to refresh my memory.
Yeah, and
you're talking about how he's able to stick it with Kylo Ren in the forest fighting at the end. What I read is something I've clearly Chewie gets a shot off on Kylo in the big dome thing, so he's clearly hurt. But still, like that's a good opportunity to maybe end that movie with Finn being like, oh, I'm actually this lightsaber's telling me what to do here. I'm not really thinking about it. Have I got the Force?
They should have.
Yeah, their character development is pretty bad for like over. I think that's where we've come to. It's like too many characters. They didn't all get down in a room and actually write the trilogy from start to finish. So you give it to J.J. Abrams. He does all this stuff. Then you gave it to Rian Johnson, who went a completely different direction with it. Then you give it back to J.J. Abrams, who then somehow has to kind of cram in all the shit that's just the 2 hours that's come before into his 3-hour film. And you've got like, if you read the original script that was written, the Duel of the Fates script, which was written for the episode 9, and how it teed up from Force Awakens, you're like, holy shit! Like Finn was supposed to be a Jedi. Finn was going to lead a stormtrooper
Sounds
rebellion,
so much better.
and he was going to like give an impassioned speech, and then like some of the stormtroopers were going to come with him, and then you had like all the different like you had like your super Harry Potter moment where like all the Jedi ghosts appear beside Rey.
Oh, okay.
So like Harry Potter in the Harry Potter films, like all the dead people the wand had killed appeared behind Harry Potter. Same principle, except all the Jedi Force ghosts appear at once, but it's all the original actors apart from
Alec Guinness.
Oh my god, obviously the ones that Alec Guinness. Yeah, but yeah, all the original Jedi appear, and they all like say their words in person, and then so there's all these cool things that they were going to do, and then decide to chuck it and do Rise of Skywalker instead.
So what's your number 5 then, Duncan? So we've got everyone's number 5 but yours.
5 is Attack of the Clones.
Okay, cool.
We just did our number 6s just then, I think.
Yeah, 6 was Force Awakens.
Yeah.
8,
and then
7, 6, and then 5 is Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, and my 5 was for the Force Awakens. So we're on number 4 now.
My 5 was Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, so we should have 4 that we've not covered yet. Because I think all of us have the bottom 5 are the same.
3 we've not covered.
Okay. What is your number 4, Eddie?
Force Awakens.
Oh, right,
Force Awakens.
Yeah. Got quite high up on mine. Like we were talking there, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had an easy
Duncan,
job.
number 4?
4, Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. Shall we talk about that then? We've not talked about that one yet.
That's my number 3. So
that's your number 3.
That is my number 3 as well.
Ooh, that's good. Good times.
I'm not an original trilogy hating.
Yeah, you're not. Top 3.
No, we're not. There's nothing wrong with Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi that wraps it up very well.
I'm excited.
Jungle teddy bears go burr.
Yeah. And do you know what I found out was the Ewoks, right? At the end of Return of the Jedi, when they have the big party in their planet.
Yeah.
there's a difference between the cinematic release and the release that you watch on Disney Plus. So there's a song that plays when they're all celebrating and there's like fireworks going off.
It's like away, away,
Yeah,
away,
right?
away.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it sounds
It
like.
sounds like that. There's an actual song from the theatrical release called Yub Nub. I'm going to play it.
Whoa, this is a family show, Rory.
No, it's basically an Ewok song. And then they thought, that's a bit weird. Let's release it again, but with a different song. Listen to this, by the way. It's absolutely incredible. I'm just going to wait until this advert's finished because YouTube's great.
Lucasfilm are going to sue the shit out of us.
That's fine.
In your own time.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever you're ready. Performance anxiety happens to most of us.
There was a bigger man at the urinal.
Can't hear a thing.
Can't hear a thing, no.
It's so weird. And it's like, yep, nope. I don't know
Didn't
if that
hear
worked.
anything.
Did you not?
No. It's just you holding your phone too.
What we can't see off camera is there's a guy with a bigger phone next to him. Can I just turn him off a little bit? I'll wee now.
Shall we just announce our top 3 then? And then give a chat about why?
Yeah, okay.
So, Eddie, you're number 2.
Just give your top 3.
Just
so
give
Return
my
of
top
the
3.
Jedi.
Yeah, give top 3.
1, 2, 3. Number 1, Revenge of the Sith. Number 2, Phantom Menace. Number 3, Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. Right. My top 3 is Phantom Menace at 3, A New Hope at number 2, but that is so close. And then Revenge of the Sith, number 1.
Revenge of the Sith at number 1. Cool. Hold on. I'm just writing that down. Phantom. So my number 3 is Return of the Jedi. Number 2 is A New Hope. And number 1 is Empire. My number Phantom Menace was at number 4 for me.
Number 4. Right, yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
I have the main trilogy in the top 3. However, I am willing to push Phantom Menace probably up above Jedi at one point.
Really?
Number 2.
In and out.
Bold of you.
In and out because pod racing. That's
pod racing.
That's all it is for me.
I mean, for me, it's really a case of the New Hope's up there. We've kind of talked about A New Hope already. It's the original. It's up there. The reason the Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith are so high is because the Phantom Menace, as Eddie and I have come to realize this, that the Phantom Menace had a lot riding on it.
Yeah.
And without the Duel of the Fates, which is so important to the entirety of the Star Wars. But the actual...
It's massive.
The actual Duel of the Fates.
That's a great fight
called
scene.
the Duel of the Fates. Why it's called that is so important. And it basically sets up the rest of the Star Wars trilogy, because without Duel of the Fates, none of this would have happened. Because it's not just the fate, it's the fate of Anakin Skywalker that they're fighting over.
Yeah.
It's not...
And like all good movie sort of trilogies, it's all about family.
Yeah.
They've clearly taken a note out of Fast and Furious' book.
Fast and Furious book, yeah. He knew Vin Diesel before Vin Diesel was
but yeah.
He's right.
Go, Duncan.
Yeah, so it's very much like Qui-Gon, like, you see Darth Maul, who's like epically cool. And then you've got what do you call it? Qui-Gon Jinn on the other side. And they're basically, Qui-Gon Jinn knows he needs to win, because if they don't destroy the Sith now, the Sith are clearly after to destroy the Jedi. He wants Anakin to be Anakin's father. And because he ends up dying, he says to Obi-Wan to train him. But Obi-Wan's not really his father, he's his brother.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do it out of like wanting to be his father. He trains him because he
made a promise to a dying man.
Yeah.
Whereas clearly Qui-Gon is, he's taken Anakin from his mum.
Yeah.
But he's doing that knowing that he can teach Anakin what Anakin needs to know to become a good person and be Anakin's father figure. And, teach him the difference between good and evil. And,
and he does that. You can see that because Anakin really looks up to Qui-Gon.
Yeah. And then, Qui-Gon Qui-Gon gets killed. Spoiler alert: Qui-Gon gets killed by Darth Maul, and
he gets stabbed and then does a sweet flip.
Yeah, but then I mean, Obi-Wan kills him from a reverse high ground situation where technically he had the high ground, but that's another matter. But
that's a whole different debate.
Then it's his brother is sort of training him up, and then that kind of he's not got that overriding sort of father figure, Anakin, teaching him and being like, no, you can't do that. You know, there's reasons we can't do that, and this, but it's okay to do this, and he's. Yeah. Obi-Wan's very sort of down the line when it comes to Jedi Council and following the Jedi Council code. And you know, that means you can't be in love and you can't have all these feelings and you can't be involved in politics. Maybe Qui-Gon might have gone a different way and been like, you know, it is okay to have feelings of love and, you know, politics, you know,
just control them.
It's a part of life.
Yeah.
Whereas Anakin,
also it feels
that was an act of rebelling for him to go and fall in love with Padme. Number one relationship in the whole,
because he's a moody teenager and he's acting out.
It's almost like Obi-Wan. Yeah. Obi-Wan almost wasn't ready. He hadn't completed his training as well.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So he wasn't a Jedi Master, and then he's just been. He wanted to train Anakin because he's promised it to Qui-Gon, and then he's just kind of out of his depth a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the one thing, one of the reasons why this movie isn't in the top 3 for me, probably is because I would have preferred it to have been an Obi-Wan story rather than a Qui-Gon Anakin story. You know what I mean? Because Obi-Wan is the common denominator in that whole trilogy. It's about him.
But surely Anakin's the common denominator in that
whole
trilogy.
Yeah, it's about Anakin.
In fact, he's the common denominator of all 6.
Yeah. But, you know, like, as a main character, you can't just make a kid in the first movie, like, take like control of the movie. You've got Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson, albeit. It should be about their almost story, and it almost starts off to be until they meet Anakin, and then Obi-Wan stays on the ship for like half the movie, and it's like, oh, fuck. You know? And then Qui-Gon has this story with Anakin, and then that's all fun and pod racing and Jar Jar and stuff.
I'll try spinning.
Yeah.
Pod racing is
I'll try spinning.
The only
That's
thing
a
that lets
neat
Phantom
trick.
Menace down is the final, apart from the spinning thing, the actual final space battle, like, is kind of a bit anticlimactic, but that's only because it's up against Duel of the Fates at the same time. Yeah. It's kind of difficult to top that. They could have done without the space battle and just had Duel of the Fates. It probably would have been okay.
Yeah.
Just everyone standing around watching.
Yeah. Or Anakin showing off that he can fly because he can also ride a pod racer.
That's true. Pod racing's fucking sick.
Doing multiple sequel characters in one character.
That's what you could do for a sign-off, Eddie. You could just shout a quote from the movie.
Why didn't we think of that?
And as we say at the end of every episode of That's Class featuring Eddie, no, that's pod racing.
That's pod racing.
I have no
Revenge of the Sith, though. I mean, it's just from
you guys
opening
are super
bell
keen
to closing
Revenge
credits.
From
opening bell to closing credits, it's just brilliant. It's not got the best writing, but George Lucas was never that brilliant at writing dialogue, really. But overall, it's just brilliant from start to finish. It's probably the darkest one by far. The darkest. The darkest of the movies, apart from Rogue One. It's pretty dark, but Revenge of the Sith is just, it's insane from start to finish.
Yeah.
You get the whole Darth Plagueis thing where literally he steals the life from the life force of the love of his life to save Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
Like,
where's Padme? Is she okay?
She has the big sad.
We're losing her. We don't know why. She has a serious case of the big sad.
Oh, the big sad.
I'm too sad. I can't go on.
She just doesn't want to live anymore.
Do you know what we finished on? What were we talking about?
We were talking about Revenge of the Sith and how it's the best Star Wars film, and you agreed with us.
Right.
Oh yeah, I distinctly remember you agreeing.
Yeah, you definitely agreed with us on that one.
Shall we just end it there then?
I knew it.
Yeah, you guys happy with that?
Yeah.
Because of some technical issues with Zoom and we've have to log in and out, I'm not sure where we landed when we finished there, but we're going to end it there. But massive thanks to you, Eddie. Thanks for coming in.
It's been fun. It's been a fun
sharing
addition to my
your
collection.
knowledge. hopefully we have you back. Would you like to come back for a pod episode?
Yeah. As long as the pay gets better, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. We'll try and
discuss
get
we
some
can
terms.
multiply it. We can multiply
Speak to
your
my
payment.
agent. Speak to my
We
agent.
can multiply your payment by 2. So as you were getting paid nothing, then
Do
0
nothing.
times 0.
We'll try and get some sponsors. I messaged Duncan at the start of the week. We got a
For
fake
profit.
spam message on Instagram from Smooth My Balls. And
Nice.
they wanted to sponsor the podcast.
But you'll get free stuff off that. Like, do
Well,
it.
Yeah, supposedly, yeah.
All you have to do
you
is sell
can.
your soul and be
It
like,
looks so
this is
fake.
great.
Absolutely.
I've smoothed
If-
my balls.
If anyone
You get a
is,
couple of nice smooth duck eggs out. Like,
Yeah.
check these out.
Oh, I actually found some really cool duck eggs yesterday. Do you want to? Can I show them on the podcast?
go
Show
for
and
it.
tell.
Nah, you're right.
No, I don't. But if anyone listening wants to sponsor the pod, by all means, write to us at gmail.com. That's ClassPod, at gmail.com. Or Twitter is also at That's ClassPod. Write to us. Let us know if you want to sponsor us. We're happy to sponsor anyone or be sponsored by anyone. We want smooth balls, don't we, boys?
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd say no.
Yeah,
I-
such a
I-
silence there.
I do a review video. Here they are.
Review
Nice and
video
smooth.
Here they are.
of smooth
Yeah.
balls.
Is this a
But
duck
yeah.
egg? Is it?
Here's a real duck egg, and here's another real duck egg. Tell me which one is which.
If you want to have a look at our lists, we'll try and post them up on Twitter and on Instagram as well. If you want to get involved in the chat, you can write to us on there, on all the socials. If you enjoyed this episode, leave us a 5-star review. 5 stars is the minimum that we like to accept. And share it with your friends if you did enjoy it, if you think they'll enjoy it as well. Lie to them, like we always say, even if you know they won't enjoy it. We just like to get those views. And big thanks to Stuart Hosking for the intro music. And yeah, I hope everyone has a super, super day. Say
Super
goodbye,
Dave.
Duncan.
Enjoy May the 4th. Goodbye, Duncan.
And as Eddie
May the
says
4th
at the
be with
end
you.
of every episode that he is involved in on That's Class, insert quote here.
Yeah.
You said them, so I'll copy and paste it in. I don't know which one.
This
I'm
is
like
pod racing.
scrolling, trying to find like a goodbye one. Like, you ready?
No, that was pod racing.
That was pod racing. Do you want to do that? Just go, now this was pod racing.
Not to worry, we're still flying half a ship. No,
Don't worry, we're still playing half a podcast.
I've been Eddie Ashcroft, and this has been a fine addition to my collection.
Hey, oh,
Nice.
nice.
Unlimited
Class.
power.
Nice.